Are you gonna fix the hair?
Yeah.
Do you need a blow dryer? Do we need to powder like there? You guys, should I add West or no? No, I'm Kim Kardashian. Oh my God, I'm so nervous. Just kidding, as long as I have photo approval. Chin down.
You want to keep your eyes focused on the blue circle.
It's gonna be.
Okay, hold on. Wait till I'm not smiling. Hold on.
God, can you imagine?
If I'm like. Okay, hold on.
God.
Okay, no wrinkles, no.
No
Smiles.
It's going to set up first.
Okay,
Let me know when you're ready.
ready.
Ready?
Stop, dude.
Let me just move this.
Dude.
I promise. You're gonna have to live with this for years. You'll hate it.
Okay. Hold on. Okay.
Ready? 4 seconds. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Can I see it?
Yeah.
Come on, guys. We all need to approve this.
Can we try again?
Maybe if you can come out a bit more, so it's not so cropped.
Not so, yeah.
Yeah, is there any way to save this, do another, and have them side by side?
Can you just airdrop it to us really quickly? So we take
Yeah,
it
right.
right.
Do you risk losing it?
I think you could do better.
Shoulders back. Yeah.
Ready? 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sure.
Oh my God.
Wow.
We're snatched.
First snatch.
Good.
Really.
This one's good. It looks exactly the same as the other one.
Blanca killed it. She nailed it. We've worked with many photographers along the time, Blanca, and you got the shot. I wouldn't say we normally get it.
In 2 shots?
Yeah.
We trusted our instincts. First is the worst, second is the best. That's why I'm the second child.
Michael and I would like to go on a little Pride holiday.
Price. Okay, no, if you
Not
want
the
to check
price.
the price,
No, not the price. The Pride.
flights. No, we are not booking flight.
No, not flight. Pride.
Right. Could you please spell it?
P-R-I-D-E.
P-R. Okay. Pride. Pride. Just a minute, I'm checking. P-R-I-T, right?
No, D-E. You don't know the Pride? It's the Pride Week, and Lego is
Okay, Pride.
I
Pride.
Yeah.
You mean bride?
No, not Pride. P-R-I-D-E. Pride. It's like a festival for gays and queers.
Okay.
For homosexual people.
No, we are not actually doing that.
My boyfriend, Michael, and I would like to go on a little Pride holiday.
Price. Okay, no, if you
No,
want
no,
to check
Pride.
the price,
No, not the price. The Pride.
flights. No, we are not booking flights.
No, not flight. Pride.
Right. Could you please spell it?
P-R-I-D-E.
P-R. Okay. Pride. Pride. Just a minute, I'm checking. P-R-I-T, right?
No, D-E. You don't know the Pride? It's the Pride Week, and Lego is
Okay, Pride. Pride.
Yeah.
You mean bride?
No, not Pride. P-R-I-D-E. Pride. It's like a festival for gays and queers.
Okay.
For homosexual people.
No, we are not actually doing that.
My boy.
in this dystopian outrage that is now all of China, apparently, is I once again cannot buy food. A couple days ago, my uncle and my cousin helped me get a cell phone that is linked to a Chinese bank card so that I could buy anything. But now, apparently, it has been flagged for some reason, and I have to pass facial recognition identity verification, which is insane, because all I want to do is just spend my gift card balance on this debit card. I can't believe I'm doing this. I have to open my mouth. Oh my god. Terrifying. Well, and of course, because it was my cousin who set this up for me, I did not pass verification. I guess it's a good thing that the Chinese app is not racist. But now, I once again can't buy anything.
Hey, what's up, Nick? I've been trying to reach you. Been reaching out to you on X. We're supposed to be meeting with people here. What victims have you?
Okay, yeah. So this is so you're seeing this live right now. People actually tracked me down.
I thought you were staying in a tent. You said you were coming and staying in a tent, Nick. You're taking up resources.
I'm not taking up any resources here. People's minds here.
Hey, what's up, Nick? I've been trying to reach you. Been reaching out to you on X. We're supposed to be meeting with.
Hello and good morning. My name is Rob, and I have been playing this game for 600 plus hours. One thing I've noticed is that the tutorial is not very good. Today, I'm going to replace this tutorial for you. So, step 1, press escape, go to options, turn off the in-game tutorial. Find the life raft storage, press tab to open it, take the rations, the bandage, and the compass, paddle to shore, or you can drag this to shore, but there is a shark and he might eat you. Make sure you put your paddle back, and then right click and hold, drag your life raft to shore so it doesn't float away. We'll go ahead and empty our backpack with the rations, the bandage, and the compass. Press F to check your status. The heart is health, the piece of lamb is hunger, the water drop is thirst, SPF is your UV amount, sunburn, not sunburn. If you right click or left click, you can scroll to the next screen on your watch. Status effects, I am currently healthy. The plus means this is a positive attribute. If I am bleeding or if I'm sunburned, you will have a negative followed by the status effect. You have to have a plus healthy status in order to recover health. To have a healthy status, you have to have no other status effects, and your food and your water have to be above a certain level. Now that you're on shore, you need to find 2 rocks. There's 1, there's 2. Now you have to press C to view your crafting book, and you want to make 2 stone tools. There's 1, there's 2. Now you need to find a palm sapling and chop it down to pick up fibrous leaves. Now you need to travel to the center of the island and find a yucca tree. This is a yucca tree. You chop it down for more fibrous leaves. Now you want to press and hold C. This gives you a quick craft menu. The quick craft will allow you to use whatever is in front of you on the ground or what is in your inventory to craft. It's not always intuitive, but in this case it is. We want to make a lashing. Now we want to use quick craft again to see what we can make, and since I picked up a few sticks along the way, we're going to make a refined knife. Then we're going to press tab to pick up the refined knife, and now we're going to cut down a ficus tree. We're going to pick up these sticks. We're going to cut down another yucca. Our harvesting is leveled up. We're going to make another lashing and pick up the extra fibrous leaves. Make another lashing. And my craftsmanship is now leveled up. Find another rock, but don't pick it up. Quick craft another stone tool. Now I have 2 stone tools, 4 sticks, and 2 lashings. I have enough to make a crude axe, and I'll show you the crude axe. It's here. I need 1 lashing, 1 stick, and 2 stone tools, which I have. Since I have that, I can craft it with my quick craft. I've made an axe. I can now cut down more ficus trees and make a few spears to defend myself. And I will use the quick craft menu for that. It will also use the ones that are on my person. And my crafting level is now at level 2. The first thing I'm going to need is water. You see my water goes down a lot faster than everything else. The original tutorial tells you to make a fire. Do not listen to it. You do not need a fire. I have beat this game without cooking. I've survived solely on rations. These are rations. They give you food and water. On normal mode, you can live almost a week just on these 3 rations. The first thing that I want to make is a water still. So I'm going to right click on the water still, which will pin what I need on the top left of the screen. You can see I do need to be level 2. I am currently level 2. The one at the bottom is your crafting level. And then above it is physical, above that is harvesting, and then cooking and hunting. So, let's figure out what we need. We need cloth. Every island has 2 pieces of cloth on it. Go ahead and check your status. You can see my SPF is very, very low. Eat an aloe plant to recover the SPF. pick up all the rocks while you're running around looking for cloth. Every island has 2 pieces of cloth on it. Pick up the sticks. The palm saplings do respawn. I'm going to go ahead and break those now and pick those up because I want them to start respawning as soon as possible. There's my cloth. I got 1. There's another one there. 2. And I found a PP plant. I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. I'm actually going to drop this because I don't need it.
Saw Null drop quite a lot of times. Darren Celia actually going down for Echo. They do have a battle rest, so they can pick him back up. But those inundates on the plus 30 are no joke. This dungeon hits so hard. You can see they're even using stuff like the grip, get him out of range quickly to be able to not get hit by that. So both of these teams, quite a lot of challenge before them. We do see last minute continue the freehold plus 30, and all of the other teams are currently on break, but this is really intense. Now continues to fight with his own HP bar as they are dealing with the infuser. Nanny's last hope is on that very last bit of the dungeon. 1 minute 30, a little bit less than that to go, and they need to get this boss down in time.
They can get through one entire rage bar of the boss with just 2 minutes and about 1 minute 30 seconds, so this last burst of damage is going to be incredibly important for them. If Goop was min-maxing everything that his Augmentation Evoker Kit has available to him, he uses Aria's Fragment on pull, and then also will have it back up for this next set of 2 minute bursts, which will help a lot with their burst damage here. But of course, I think there's a little bit of an issue with that, right? Because you really want to use the burst damage to burst down this rage bar. If the rage bar is already full, your damage isn't really doing anything, so hopefully they can get the 2 minutes off pretty quickly here and get meaningful damage on the boss. But looking at their damage now, for somehow, some way, they've come up with a ridiculous amount of damage on this boss, more so than anyone else. They might actually get through this boss with just enough time left to time the key. We want to see them finish up that rage bar with about 20 seconds left on the key. If they can get that done, they will be able to time the key.
30 seconds.
But it's ever so close here. 30 seconds now left on the key. That rage bar might just be full already. It is. The Visages have spawned. All they have to do now is stay alive. Where did this damage come from?
In the background, you can see the Titan finish the first one off. Gonna walk over to the second one. They need to survive here. Make sure they can do it, and they will. Titan Timmy does them in for 29.48 on the plus 30 for NA's last hope.
We're not really calling him Titan Timmy, are we?
We are calling him Titan Timmy. Get with it, Syro.
We don't need to call him Titan Timmy, though. I think we need to rethink this.
No, we don't. Echo, they have 5 minutes here, starting this boss fight with basically exactly 5 minutes on the clock to deal with Primal Tsunami and the plus 30. That's another one that is going to be a challenge. Now, we did see them wipe here earlier. This boss hits really hard despite being fortified. We are in a plus 30, and you need to be so careful to get through this one. How many phases are we expecting here? 2 intermissions? 3?
It needs to be 3 phases. If they get a 4th phase, they will not time this key. That's just how it goes. Essentially, the way this works is you have a set of 2 minutes for each phase, so it's 2 minutes per phase. So this first 2 minutes on pull, second phase will be 2 minutes from now, third phase will be 2 minutes again from now. And this boss encounter, they pulled it at 30:10, so they have a little over 4.5 minutes to get this boss down, which we've just seen was possible in Unbound Abomination. The problem for Primal Tsunami is you have these intermission phases where you're not doing any damage to boss, and also you need to kill off these adds that spawn in the middle too. Of course, killing off the adds does give you time to get your cooldowns back up, but you can see a regular phase with no Bloodlust, they were only able to do 27% of the boss's HP. So they need to somehow find a way to do 50% of the boss's HP in this Bloodlust burst coming up here. It's extremely tight for them to do. I don't know if it's actually possible with this much time, but if there's any team that can get it done, it would be Echo.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see how they do. Right now, we are dealing with these infusers. They do have that Bloodlust available, but there's still a little bit of cooldown on that PI that we would really like.
No, I'm racist, so your virtue signaling doesn't work here. I don't care, okay? Here, okay, so I'm just curious. Does this influence or change or modify your skepticism at all? And again, I don't know. I'm still, ultimately, I don't know. But supposedly, the AP African American Studies contains the same slavery teaching as the new Florida standards. Have you read this article?
With either nothing or maybe in this like post-industrial society, but I think they're prevented from doing so. I mean, even like in school nowadays, boys can't stand up for themselves on the playground because they have like zero tolerance policies, which teach kids that like violence is absolutely never something that's permitted. So if some kid's picking on you and you fight back, you are now going to be suspended as well. You also have things like they bring in these social workers and counselors to try to tell boys that like if you have a problem you have to talk about it and there's probably something wrong with you. They even try to turn the students like against their parents in some cases. If kids are like, you know, my mom destroyed my Lego set because she was mad at me. A whole Lego set destroyed? That was something I remember happening to one of my buddies when I was in elementary school. So I think it's like taking children and basically teaching them to be a cog in that system that you described without saying, you know, you can climb to the top, you can be a hero, you can still do things that are noble even if you're not, you know, protecting your community from Indians, you can protect them from criminals. But now the law has made that largely impossible in many cases as well, I think.
Well, most of the institutions that young men interact with are run by women. If we look at the education system, it is a more feminine view, and the way that little girls learn and little boys learn, it's not the same, and it's not that one's better than the other, but I feel like that, in addition to the fact that social workers, for example, overwhelmingly females, psychologists, psychiatrists, overwhelmingly females. There are so many women who I think have the best intention when it comes to shaping men's lives, but I think they're not realizing that men and women are different. So that masculine leadership that you were talking about, that's largely missing, and it's been replaced with either nothing or maybe too much of a feminizing influence.
What do you think?
I don't think men and women are that different. I do agree with one thing that was said, though. I think one of the big issues you run into is there's literally no good advice out there for how to, I guess, help men, because it seems like on the left, they just don't want to talk to men at all. They're just exclusively talking to women or maybe minority men. And then for people on the right, it's this very strange caricature of masculinity. It's funny because you pointed out like that the red pill talks about a caricature of masculinity, but I feel like sometimes conservatives talk about caricatures of masculinity too. I feel like when we talk about masculinity, everybody wants to talk about like the really sexy, like fighting the kid at lunch that broke your Legos or fighting with your parents or whatever. The reality is, and I say the same shit to red pillers who say, well, it's important for you to be masculine because somebody breaks into my house, I need to get my assault rifle and tell my woman to hide my, like, life, 99% of life is not these moments. Like, how successful you are in life really comes down to, like, can you maintain a sleep schedule? Can you have a decent diet? Do you have enough discipline to go to work, show up to your job? Can you graduate school? Like, these are, not only are these like the most important, they're oftentimes the hardest ones. It's a lot harder to maintain a 4.0 GPA, get a scholarship, go to school, than it is to stand up to a bully one time on the playground. But it seems like those are the sexy, like, moments that everybody wants to obsess over. And then in the meantime, when you look at like the woman's side of things, women have been taught to have more control over reproductive health. They're taught to go to school and succeed in ways that we never thought they could before. They're taught to enter the job market and get jobs and make money in ways they never thought they could before. Women have been doing a good job at kind of like leveling up all these different aspects of their lives. Nobody wants to talk to the men on the left, and the people that are talking to the men from the right are like, well, you guys just need to be even more masculine, even though I don't see any future where just being even more masculine is equipping you to succeed in a world where your outcomes are largely determined by like how successful you could be at a white collar office job or how successful you could be sitting down, 8 hours a day in a school setting like in college.
I suppose that's true. I don't know if, while it does seem sort of silly when you lay it out that way to focus on, these heroic standards as opposed to what is more practically applicable, it is true, though, that like even when men do go down those paths and they do them successfully, they don't feel fulfilled. They don't feel happy. They feel very, inundated and restless. And I think that's partially why the male suicide rate is like unprecedentedly high, because yes, they are checking these boxes and they're living successfully as determined by how society might want that to be defined, but they still do not feel like they're living as men. I mean, even, for example, if there were a guy who were making good money at a job, white collar, and he steps outside his office to go get into his Mercedes and he gets like robbed by somebody who doesn't have a gun, they just like beat the shit out of him. Like, can I swear? I don't remember the rules here.
I don't know if we have any. I don't know.
He's going to feel like emasculated. You're going to feel bad about yourself because you were unable to defend yourself. And especially if his girlfriend or if his wife sees that, I don't care how much feminist literature she has read. If your woman ever sees you get beat up by another guy, she's never going to look at you the same way. I don't care how understanding she says that she is. Oh, he was bigger than you, whatever. She will never look at you the same way again, because whether or not we like it, they have been wired biologically to seek out men who can protect them. Even if now they don't necessarily need the financial stability that maybe they would have required, 100 years ago, they still have that instinct to pursue that. And so I think that those moments too, I mean, how many guys too are now living in the glory day, or living in like this very comfortable lifestyle, who still reminisce back to when they were like the captain of the football team, or back, in their glory days, or even like post-traumatic stress disorder. I mean, properly understood, we learned this in Vietnam. It's not like guys are so traumatized by war. It's that they go and they experience that brotherhood and that glory, and they come back and they're like in a box. I mean, the Hurt Locker actually explored this very well. You read the interviews from like after Vietnam, these soldiers are coming back. It's not just that they're traumatized, it's that life after war is boring. So I think there is something in the male brain that's wired to pursue that.
Okay, yeah, a few things. So one, that is, PTSD is absolutely not. I was with my brothers and then I came back. I don't think that is a driving factor of PTSD. I think a driving factor of PTSD is the human central nervous system being stressed beyond whatever a human is meant to deal with in life and death situations for sometimes extended periods of time. Sometimes with other physiological things lacking too, like sleep, diet, whatever. But regardless of that, again, we hit on there's another red pill talking point. Like, what is a woman looking for in a man? Protection. Like, where do you live? Is this like in Pakistan, or are we like in some civil war place? Like, we live in the United States of America. I don't think protection is the thing that, like, most people probably want a guy that earns a decent paycheck.
But is that not financial protection?
Yeah, but that's not the protection that he was talking about. Right? If you want to broaden protection to be so overly broad and meaningless that it includes things like making money, you can do that. But when people say protection, I mean, he was talking about, like, if your wife sees you get beaten up, blah, blah, blah. Like, if we take the totality of divorces and relationships ending in the United States right now, is like, saw my husband get beat up, is that even going to make the top 50? I'm guessing it's probably nowhere near on that list.
It's a similar impulse in the brain, though, because I think women are initiating something between like 2/3 and 80% of divorces, and largely they just cite that they feel unfulfilled. I think that can manifest in a variety of ways, but I think it's like they're looking at their husbands as less attractive for whatever reason. Well, you can even see studies too. Women that earn more than their husbands in a long enough timeline are more likely to divorce them because they don't have that traditional perceived ability to, like she mentioned, protect financially. But I agree with what you're saying.
Hold on. Neither of those two things are completely true. Number one, the divorce rate gets cited a lot. There's a reason why women overwhelmingly initiate divorce versus men. That's because oftentimes women have more they need to secure by doing so. If a man and a wife get together and things, petter out, whatever, things don't work out, especially if the woman is a child, that woman has to file for divorce if she wants to qualify for benefits, if she wants to get any kind of child support, if she wants to get any kind of welfare. Otherwise, her husband's income is constantly going to be taken into account when she's trying to apply for any assistance or need. So women are oftentimes highly incentivized to get divorced because a man can be like married and not give a fuck forever. Socially, there's probably less stigma, like, oh, I'm separated from my wife, she's whatever, versus a woman being like, well, I'm still married, but I don't see my husband. So socially, there's a lot of stigma behind who would cause a divorce. And then for financial benefits, a woman with a child whose husband is no longer in the picture and helping, she absolutely needs to file for that divorce in order to qualify for anything she might need to maintain a household. Number one. Number two, after the divorce thing, you brought up what was the second thing?
Oh, shoot. I don't even remember.
Was it the protection thing? Fuck, I lost it. But the number one thing was,
Well, so I just, quick Google search, singular source, Forbes Advisor says that lack of commitment is the primary reason for divorce. 75% of individuals cited lack of commitment. 60% cited infidelity. So it seems like infidelity is the real reason for divorce, which kind of sounds like if either individual in the relationship is cheating on each other, they've already broken their relationship.
I mean, this is something I'll push back at the 80% of women filing for divorce. I think there's a difference between a woman filing for divorce and a woman being responsible for the divorce. If it's a case of infidelity specifically, a man can cheat and a woman can file for divorce because of that. But can you really blame the woman for the marriage failing in that case?
I don't think so, but I think lack of commitment here is defined separately from infidelity. Lack of commitment could be like, he's not bringing to the table what I thought he was, something like that. These sort of like vague reasons that are hard to define. Infidelity, I would agree with, but I mean, it does say like 75% would be. I want
to ask that question. What causes infidelity? Could it be sexual, desires that a man has or a woman has that they're not being fulfilled with, or could it be that something in their relationship already broke, where an attraction has waned for a variety of reasons, which resulted in them seeking?
There's
probably
one answer.
A variety of reasons of why.
It's monogamy. See, if everybody had open relationships, there'd be no more infidelity. Boom. Next topic.
That's just like saying if we make all crime legal, there'll be no more crime.
Yeah, okay. Have you seen The Purge? Okay. Their world is better off for it, according to the lore. So.
Maybe if we did live in the Purge, my argument would be better about needing protection or something. But
no, because rich people would probably still buy like huge houses.
I do
with
think
50
there's something to be said
and...
because they've done cross-cultural studies, for example, where you look at like stereotypes of masculinity or femininity, and you ask all these different cultures, what they tend to seek in a potential mate, and we find that they basically hold up that men are looking for women who are young and beautiful, implying the role of the mother. Women are looking for men who are strong and ambitious and of resources, implying the role of the protector and the provider. So while it is true that yes, your need to be protected by a man is much lesser than it would have been 100 years ago, I think that biological impulse is still there, which is why we see it across cultures. And so the question becomes, how much is our society going to undo that biological impulse to seek that with how women are
can I find
regarded
on that
men?
real quick? Okay, when we cite, first of all, the marriage thing is a really good thing, right? If we say 60% of relationships end in infidelity, right? I know they didn't say that, but let's say 60% of relationships end in infidelity. Why did the relationship end? To say cheating, Lauren mentioned, doesn't really get to the heart of what happened, right? Because it's possible that like by the time cheating has happened, it's because the relationship has already fallen apart, right? Like here, I haven't seen data on this, but I would bet my life on this that you can probably track the success of a relationship based on how much sex the man and the woman have. However, would you say that like, well, we had sex like once every 3 months, that's why the relationship ended? Probably not. You probably stopped having sex because other issues were starting to crop up to make it happen. We take these numbers sometimes, and if you want to talk about a study, I think it's important to talk about the entirety of a study and not to pull numbers. Because I'm familiar with Michael Sartain, I think, and Rollo cite these numbers all the time, that these cross-cultural things, they do this polling data, they see what people want. Just because people find a certain thing attractive doesn't necessarily mean that's what they chase. For instance, here's a data point. Here are 2 different data points that almost seem to contradict each other. One is that I think that for men, I think the ideal age of like female beauty, depending on what you're looking at, is anywhere from like 18 to 24, depending on what study you're looking at. But if you look at the average difference of the age of a relationship, it's like 2.7 years, I think. So even though men in general might say like, oh my God, like I really like young women that are like 22, on average, the choices that you're making in life aren't going to 100% map onto the thing that you find attractive. Same thing with women. Women might say that I prefer men that are, 6 feet tall and blah, blah, blah. And these are like your dream preferences. But when it actually comes to settling down in a relationship, they're not picking like the optimal things that they fantasize. They're making more realistic choices. And I think it's important to contextualize numbers when we talk about things like that.
In fact, I think one of the red pill dating talking points is that young women, and I'm not saying I agree with it. This is one thing they say. That young women will rack up a high body count at a young age. And then once they're in their 30s, think, oh, I need a stable guy who's actually going to be there for me. And they end up settling down with a guy who's like an average dude with a good job.
It's true. Many such cases. And I think there is something to be said that while, what you desire is not what you're always going to be able to get, that impulse is still there. So you can be a very beautiful young woman, desire that guy, and maybe get him, maybe choose to exploit your beauty for other purposes and then settle down later. But settling doesn't mean you decide that this is unrealistic just because it's like unobtainable. It's more because, well, what am I working with? What can I bring to the table to get that? Because a guy in that position is well aware of that desirability, and so he can leverage that to, get a woman who's more in alignment with what he finds desirable. So I don't think it's necessarily like, I wish I could fly, but I can't. It's like, this does exist, but I can't get it for whatever reason.
Well, I find looking at the red pill community versus, for example, some of the extreme whatever women, like the podcasts, that is, there's a big stark contrast between red pillers who might say, oh, well, no woman is going to want someone who's under 6 foot tall, which is absolutely not true. I mean, people on the internet act as if no one who's 5'10" has ever gotten married as a man, which is absolutely not the case. And then, on the other side of things, you might also have a extreme feminist who's saying, oh, well, women can do whatever they want. Men should not care about body count because it doesn't matter, which is also not true. People have preferences, obviously, but we're working within the fact that we have to deal with real people who are imperfect. So I think anytime we're looking at these polls, people online can be really, I don't want to say autistic about them, but act as if they're the gospel.